Well, good morning, guys. Okay, so I dove into this field. This field was planted May 13th. As you can tell, this stuff's probably 8 foot tall, tasseled, and we got really pretty good ear set to be, as I look down through here, pretty even emergence. I mean, all the ear sets or all the placements look good. So, yeah, not quite pollinating yet. Plenty of silk, but yeah, probably another week. Probably sometime actually next week. Looks like we'll be pollinating, but pretty good stand really across all our fields. Very windy. But yeah, it looks pretty good. But as I was scouting this field, I just was gonna let you guys know this morning we ended up, I think, with about a ½ inch of rain on this field, and midweek from kind of east to west, we ended up with about 2 inches to a tenth. So these storms have just been kind of crazy here lately, just how they pop up and they don't move. They just kind of stay there. It's like they dump all their energy and just dissipate. But we've really had pretty good rainfall this whole crop season, you know, within a wide area right through here. So very happy, very pleased with the way things are looking. So also, I did want to say, sporting a new Brian's farming videos. Go check him out on YouTube. He's got some pretty cool stuff. We are in Indiana. He is in Ohio. I'm not sure how many hours away he is, but yeah, go check it out. Check out Farm Focus. That's where you can get all these products. And yeah, let's get to scouting some more fields. Well, good morning. I think one of the first projects I'm going to try to make more or less an invisible fence shank. We're actually going to, not so much for invisible fence, but just for burying wire. I'm thinking we're going to bend this. I'll cut this piece off. We'll weld this like this direction, but then I'm going to curve it on around. So we'll feed that wire from the top, kind of bring it back around, and I think that'll work. We actually have a grater box. I think we're going to bolt this to the side of that grater box on our little compact tractor. That way we can kind of raise and lower and get it the right depth. But I think that's it. Come over here, and I made this makeshift jig. Excuse the mess. I'm thinking I'm going to clamp that right there. We will heat this up. We'll just bend this around to the right angle we need. And I think that'll get it. Then we'll just, if we get the right angle, we'll just weld that onto that anhydrous knife. And we should be good. So, hey, let's give it a shot, right? Alright, so I think this will work. What I'm thinking, I'm going to cut this old gas tube off. At least cut it off right here. And I really think that'll work. Get that in position about straight across. So as this knife goes in, we'll cut this off up here. We can feed the wire down, and it'll come right back out that trench, right out through here. Alright, so here's what it kind of looks like. We get her bolted on, kind of explain a little more, but I left this long up here. We may have to cut it off, but that's where we'll feed the wire down in. And as we trench along, It'll just come right out the back. So should work out pretty good. We'll find out. All right, we're here at a field that's a couple miles west of the farm. We did catch some rain the other night, about a ½ inch, but we need to get started spraying the beans with fungicide. Like I said, we have 2 varieties we're gonna spray, which is around 1,000 acres total. But just came down here to see, you know, we don't want to do it when it's too wet, obviously, but just gonna kind of walk these. So what we're doing at co-op is we're actually getting what we call hot loads, which is they mix the chemical there, put it in our tank, and so we get to the field, we just pump it off. We don't mix that chemical. I think Delaro, I think is what we may be spraying. I have to double check that. But so anyway, they're mixing that. When we get to the field, if we see volunteer corn, we will add section 3. You've heard me mention that. That is what kills the volunteer corn in the beans. So we will have that on board. I don't think we will need that in every bean field, but if we see it, we'll add it. Then the only other chemical we possibly will add is Durango or Roundup. If we kind of scout out, we do have some weeds still popping through, we think we need that, we'll add it. So that'll be pretty much it. But right now, I'm just kind of walking a few of these fields, just making sure we can get on it. The problem is when it's real wet, you know, you smash those beans down into the mud, there is no chance of those coming back up. We are obviously going to kill some as we run over them anyway, but you know, when you're a little drier, you got a chance of them still getting some air, standing back up. You may not snap them off, so that's what we're doing. Okay, so I'm going to go look at 4 more fields, I think, this evening, and I'm just kind of looking at the volunteer corn and the weed pressure. You know, I think we're just going to get started tomorrow morning. We decided to hold off. It was going to be kind of iffy moisture-wise, and then the wind kicked up a little bit, got a little windy. So as far as that goes, we're just going to start going in the morning with it. But I do have 4 more fields I want to check, just to kind of make notes. You know, that way as we're getting to these fields, we pretty much already know if I need to add the section 3 for the volunteer corn or the Durango for, you know, the broadleaf. So that's where I'm headed now. So let's go check them out. All right, so here's a variety we're gonna spray fungicide on, and as I look out there, I do not see any volunteer corn coming through at all. But let's get up here a little bit, and I mainly just see on the end rows here, you know, some ragweed, but they have been sprayed. I actually sprayed these roadsides, and I was able to get out and kind of spray, you know, reach those. So we'll kind of go down the other side of the road here, the east side, go along this field, and we'll see what it kind of looks like back in there. But so far this field looks pretty clean, so I really don't think we're gonna have to add any volunteer corn chemical or much Durango for broadleaf. I did get down the east side of that field, and really that field as a whole is pretty clean, so I really think fungicide is all we're going to have to apply. I'm about 1.5 miles down the road at a 200-acre field of ours, and this field looks pretty clean as well. I do see some volunteer popping through, you know, but you know what you have to weigh is, you know, do we want that expense of adding that chemical when you've got a couple ears just popping through, or a couple stalks that are just popping through that will not put on an ear? You know, it gets to be a pride and look thing at that point. Yeah, it looks kind of bad, and every farmer wants a spotless field, but you know, we cannot afford to keep going in and just spraying our fields. It doesn't work that way. We can't do it. And But really, this field's pretty clean, so we'll go check a few more here. All right, I checked those other 2 fields. I believe we have a pretty good idea on the weed pressure and the chemical that we need to add, if we need to add it. So we will get fired back up first thing in the morning. So we will see you guys then. Have a good night.